Hey folks, how are things going? With the arrival of SP Nanna and with the collab on the horizon, there's a little problem I need to tackle: memory shards farming. This stage can take up to 5 units, but it only gives 9 fragments as a reward. Ideally, you only ever want to slot 3 units in here, so it's faster for them to get the upgrades they need. Even then, it's almost a week for 2 stars, 20 more days for 3 stars, an extra month for 4 stars, and 40 more days to finally max a character out. 100 days total when we get a new character released every 15, and even if you just buy the monthly card, you can safely get 1 new character every 3 banners, or 45 days. Safe to say, there's nowhere near enough slots nor time to max everyone out. Recently, they've also added a new class-based Immortal Recollection that can replace the memory shards when uncapping a character, but rather than spending them immediately on someone I already have, I think their best use will be to save them for a new arrival. Most characters get a decent upgrade when they hit 3 stars, which costs 80 fragments, and this way you'll start right off with something usable instead of suffering from low stats or a missing mechanic for 4 weeks. What I need now is a bit of a list to figure out which characters need which uncapped level and which ones will bring the best value for my account's progression. As a general rule of thumb, when looking at trait levels, small stat boosts are okay, but what I'm really looking for are big spikes in damage or extra mechanics. Take SP Reva for example. The moment you get her, her extra action is only available once every 3 turns. At 2 stars, she gains more stacks of stamina, which, while boosting her damage a bit, don't really do much, and it's only at 3 stars that her fatigue goes down to a 2-turn cooldown, allowing her to get the extra action on alternate turns. 4 stars is a sizable damage boost thanks to her stamina stacks increase, but she starts truly shining at 5 stars when she can get that second action every single turn. The colors for the trait levels indicate just that, how good a unit is at a certain trait level. So I put together this little table here. I've been playing since Global Day 1, so a smaller list of options to farm for also meant I ended up farming for characters that eventually got power craft, like Cole, or that I don't use as often anymore, like Barrel. If I were to get them today, I would probably only level Cole up as far as 2 stars and Barrel to 3 stars, while waiting to pull for better units from the gacha. But every account situation is different, and you just have to make the best you can with what you get, if possible trying to balance out damage, support, and sustain. Sadly, I also let the release of some shiny new units lead me astray a little, so let's see if I can use this chance to do some course correction as well. We start with the breakers. Luvata could have stopped at 3 stars, that's where she gets her own crit 2 buff. The extra ignite should only help the Nirvana skill, and her damage has been fine so far. Problem is, I am a huge simp for fiery hot redheads, and even if her AoE damage dealer role gets replaced by the Sword of Convallaria team eventually, I will have to max her out. The moment there's an opening in the calendar, Luvata will make her way in. Tamina is the one character I'm saving 70k memory fragments for, but I don't know how long that'll take. Talent-wise, she starts hitting 3 counters at 3 stars, and that should be enough for her. 4 stars is a small stat boost, while the 4th counter, self-clear, and 1 energy gain from 5 stars honestly seem a bit overkill. Camelot is still pretty far away, but will gain act again with a higher frequency the higher his star level, once every 4 turns at 1 and 2 stars, once every 3 turns at 3 and 4 stars, once every 2 turns at 5 stars. This extra turn also has to be summed to an increase in base HP, less pierce damage taken, and fatter shields. I don't know how that Osiris back doesn't break in 2, but just like SP Revia, this might be another mandatory 5 star. SP Nangal should follow. Lower damage, no extra turn, but Sword of Convallaria synergy with Metha, Inanna, etc. for the coordinated attacks. Despite being a red unit, she deals magic damage and has an AoE magic defense down at the start of her action, 40% at 2 stars, 60% at 3 stars. I can hear SP Inanna and Aisha rejoicing in the background. 4 stars will be another self buff for 20% attack, 40% defense, while her 5 star only adds an extra 15% crit rate and a 1-turn cooldown reduction. Her cooldowns aren't even that bad, but I'm a big fan of the old units get new powers trope, and she's in my top characters to pull for list, prepping already after SP Metha. Auguste needed his 4 star to comfortably engage his act again, and I've been considering his last upgrade for a while. Even if all he gets is a 40% armor pierce that would end up hitting enemies whose defense was already lowered by 40% in the first place. I hear he might make a comeback sometime near 2.0, but until then he can cheerlead from the sidelines. Oma I've been enjoying a lot since her release. 3 stars was good enough thanks to its extra movement, but I'm not gonna lie, the buff and energy steal from her 5 stars is pretty neat too. Senshi still looks like a nerfed Coco. I don't know how many free shots we're going to get, but I doubt he will ever get past 3 stars. Revia we get a 3 stars for free. I got her up a little cause best girl, but most she's used for is for her basic attack push. The rank 13 skill and mecha meta might give her a second life in the future, but I doubt she's ever going to 5 star. Xavier is only really good in Clash if he has the Scroll of Auguste and can stay at 1 star. Leonide can push all units deals damage too, and this works well with the Wheel of Fortune Tarot as well, but he is fairly unremarkable other than that. Iggy is Iggy. Every tier list needs to have a unit that scores the lowest, and that's him. On the defender's side, Aisha may only guard 1 unit, but also brings a 20% unique damage boost starting at 3 stars. She gets to partake in the same boost at 4 stars, while once fully leveled up, she also gets 2 clears and 1 energy restoration. Honestly, sounds kind of insane, and she will likely go straight to 5 star. Coco has one of the most brain-dead 5-star requirements I've ever seen, with the 30% chance to buff happiness shooting straight up to guaranteed. Sadly, she's falling behind the meta a bit due to her lack of damage, but crit buff, energy cost reduction and cooldown reduction remain really damn good. Rico is someone I'm eagerly waiting for. Each level of her trait brings a pretty big boost compared to the previous one, and I'm afraid she will be demanding a 5-star that'll be impossible to give her. Hopefully 4 stars will be good enough. Layla's trait gives her more preempt activations, but I've very rarely seen those since she gets to kill enemies with her alert skill instead. At 4 stars she gets both a good boost to magic defense and preempt damage. Flavia's trait brings a decent boost to her planned stats at 4 stars as well, with a damage reduction 2 on top of it. 5 stars is only for personal damage, so I wouldn't really go that far. SP Faisal comes with multiple alert procs, some crazy crits, and converting excess crit rate into crit damage. 3 stars will be the bare minimum for him, since that's the first alert +1 proc. 4 stars adds 5% more crit rate, and the ratio of crit rate to crit damage goes from 20 to 25%, increasing the gap from 60 to 75% as well. Sadly, he only gets his alert +2 at 5 stars, but that will also come with an extra 20% crit damage if his crit rate maxes out. Being part of the sort of Convallaria coordinated attack team, I think we're going to have to make some space for him once the time comes. I hear he's kind of weak, but I want to see him in action myself. Alexi has an unlimited resolve skill that can be exploited every now and then, especially if you don't have Tristan or Parsival. Sadly, this only gets a 2-turn duration at 5 stars, and no one is going to farm that much for it. Our dear Metha gets to heal a second ally from all across the map at 4 stars, and I got her that due to a lack of other options. Her rank 13 skill increases her healing by another 40%, but I doubt she'll ever see use outside of the lockout events. Hiden's alert can be quite neat, and its damage scales linearly through his trait, but he's way too niche a unit. Norgol thinks he can tank, but he really can't, and Magnus' trait has a fairly unique attack down for the enemy, but he's also basically never used. On to the Seekers, I still don't know what they were smoking when they drew Astra up. Her damage gets higher the more energy the enemy is missing, and her 3 stars makes her deplete 2 points of it. 4 stars adds another 10% attack, which is honestly not so big when you have to account for the incredible attack boost that she gets from her magic shield alone, while 5 stars adds a cooldown reduction for her class and reaction skills. Class-wise, the most commonly used one is Shadow Blades, which has no cooldown, but I can see the Teleport plus Interrupt becoming a lot more useful if she can proc it once per turn. Being the current top damage tier in the game, she should get all the upgrades possible for min-maxing purposes alone. Currently 4 stars, second highest priority after Luvata. Best Girl had to be maxed out as soon as possible, no questions asked. Double activation each turn is as crazy as her AoE damage. Sadly, the lack of stamina stacks before 4 stars kind of cripple her, which makes her feel not as good to play, but the moment she hits that magic 5, she shines, radiant. No wonder Safia calls her sun. Lutfi's trait levels start bringing a notable upgrade at 3 stars, mostly thanks to the reduction of his planning self-debuff going down to 2 turns. The extra attack based on enemy debuffs is neat, and the increase in life lost makes this the first must-have. 4 stars increases the number of alerts you can cancel to 4 in a 6 tiles range, while also adding level 2 debuffs, while 5 stars brings an even further reduction to planning, down to 1 turn, and the life loss he applies goes from 25 to 35% of his attack. The extra energy gain will also help a bit rotating his planned skill casts, but for direct damage support 3 stars should be enough, while for debuffs and damage over times there's honestly other options. Speaking of, I am weak and vulnerable in case some goth girl wants to take advantage of me, and that moment will come with Iserin's release. Hoping I'll be able to save up enough for a guaranteed, I find her trap type gameplay kind of fun, even if she looks a bit weird. Defense based with damage reduction skills on a blue unit. Her trait keeps boosting her defense and the ratio of defense turn into attack, with the first notable improvement coming with the extra energy gain at 3 stars, which she'll need in order to keep spamming feathers. 4 stars only adds 10% damage over time and piercing damage increase, but the 5 stars looks like a bomb. Plus 40% defense, 30% defense to attack conversion, 60% damage reduction, and 25% boost to damage over time and pierce damage. Nydia would be her perfect partner, applying more black feathers that won't be consumed anymore, but I'm left to hope that she'll come home on her own. If or when she does, she shoots up to 3 stars instantly for the extra range on both her normal attack and feather application, and I would be lying if I said her 5 star doesn't look juicy as hell, with her feathers targeting 4 enemies in a 6 tiles range, her normal attack getting a range +2 and recovering 1 extra energy per turn with which to keep maintaining her skills. Still, RNG got RNG. Safia has been a real powerhouse, to the point where every boss has a mechanic specifically to nerf her damage. The only difference between 3 stars and 4 stars is a 1 turn duration on her Hangman debuff, while maxing her out boosts both range and damage of her trait. Honestly, would love to take this final step, but these slots are slim. Paul at 5 stars deals comparable damage to Astra 1 star. She's enjoyed her time under the sun and now only comes out for universal derivation. Her skill 13 brings an okay boost for her, but on any new account, I don't think she would make it past 3 stars for the first extra turn cooldown reduction. Nono Wheel gets minor stats and the Veil cooldown reduced. Power Crap by Lutfi, she may get some extra sunlight in a mecha meta team after her rank 13 skill. Still, 3 stars at most. Chaklulu was released as farmable in the Exploration Lighthouse. As an infection spreader, her usefulness is questionable, but she has some okay movement and might be fun to play with. 3 stars gives her a +1 range for her daggers alongside a bit of the damage boost. Likely going to be more than enough. Asna I've never seen used outside of her release week. She can lower the enemy attack on top of the usual attack down too, but I wouldn't waste time farming for her. Lastly, Garcia. The Chainsaw Shield goes pretty hard, but she's so slow stacking rotations she's basically rendered useless. Not even bringing her up to 5 stars saves her. Next up, Destroyers. Kvarep has to go to 5 stars. Being able to use roster on 2 units at a time is pure insanity in both Clash and multi-enemy maps. The extra damage per talent level from 3 to 5 stars is just the cherry on top. He is the reason we're getting pierce damage reduction passives going forward. Percival looks like he'll be another insane powerhouse, a step or 2 above Tristan. His kit is a bit more complex since it revolves around stacking curses for his armor and reflecting debuffs, but the main talent milestones will come with a 20% boost to crit rate and damage at 3 stars, more curse stacks at 4 stars so he can maintain his buff state for more hits, and an upgrade to both at 5 stars, plus more curse stacks at the end of his action and some energy regen that never hurts. Another tier 0 damage dealer that's going to take all the investment you can throw at him. Speaking of Tristan, she's next. Her Zerker state goes from 2 to 3 turns at 3 stars, but she gets a 20% crit rate and damage boost at 4 stars, which should take priority. 5 stars adds a 4th round and a skill cooldown and energy cost reduction. You can kind of get around this with Tyr, Coco and Credenza though. Even if she falls short of Percival, she's still part of the better damage dealing characters in the game, so getting her to 5 stars for min-maxing purposes alone isn't going to be a bad idea. Marcial's talents give her Layer of Magic, which increase damage dealt while also restoring energy upon consumption. 1 layer is consumed every spell cast and she can stack up to 2. 3 stars lets her start the fight with 2 layers rather than 1, everything else is just stat boosts. My lovely little dear Afra gets some extra movement and AoE range for her nightmares. 2 stars already adds a +1 to both, while 3 stars brings her AoE to 5 tiles and also adds a level 2 debuff on each enemy. Since she has a neat jumping skill, I think I can skip out on the extra movement. The 5-star upgrade would increase the range to 6 tiles while also boosting the recorded damage cap from 400% to 600% over magic attack. And while this does look really damn nice, her main features are the sleep and 25% vulnerabilities, so her personal damage can wait. Momo brings a damage over time taken increased debuffs for enemies around her, but it's 20% at 2 stars, 25% at 4 stars, and 35% at 5 stars. Since most enemies get heavy damage reduction to HP based DOT, she basically only shines in maps with multiple mobs she can spam her counter on. The extra layer of repulsion barrier from her trait can be ignored, so she should sit comfortably at 2 stars while just waiting on dupes. Caris has some nice AoE magic damage and support, but needs allies close to her to use skills in order to unlock her enhanced state. At 3 stars, this range becomes 5 tiles, and she starts the battle with 6 out of 9 stacks already, finally becoming usable. 4 stars only brings a 5% boost to magic attack, while 5 stars makes it easier for her to stack Revelation. As a slow magic damage dealer though, she has a lot of competition. Our little sniper Nungle gets her 15% crit rate at 3 stars, while further upgrades only bring an extra 5% damage at max range and a reaction skill lock when maxed. Beryl gets increased magic damage per trait level and a higher chance for a random level 2 buff. Buff duration goes to 3 turns at 3 stars, and while mine is maxed, I cannot recommend anyone invest in her this much. Kia is the second free unit we get from the Expedition mode, and her trait seems a bit demanding. Extra HP at 2 stars, skill cooldown reduction at 3 stars, extra infection stacks at 4 stars, and 20% more damage against injured or dying targets at 5 stars. Sadly, she's not that great a unit herself, but I would like to try her out in a DOT team at 4 stars. Akambe has to be 3 stars to have his energy limit brought up to 9 points. 4 stars only brings 5% more attack, 5 star gives him 3 more energy at battle start. The assassin spam shenanigans are fun, but 3 stars might be enough. Dandelion gets small stat boosts and some healing when allies die, and Gutsman competes with Iggy for the crown of weakest unit in the game. Now for the Watchers. SP Nanna has taken root into the memory farming stage and will not leave until hitting 5 stars. 2 stars already gives her enough stacks of free will for extra action on turn 1, but she will need 4 stars for a nice stat boost and a 2 energy recovering after casting her innate skill. Her 5 stars lets her gain the free will effect even if she casts it on an ally, and that's twice the free turns. Iron Meta has a passive leader skill for the solo Convallaria units, boosting attack, defense and pierce damage. At 3 stars, this leader skill adds 1 energy gain when triggering coordinated responses, and at 4 stars, increases the coordinated response damage by another 10%. Max HP required for a higher shield and shield to attack conversion keeps going up 5% per star level, and so does the value of this conversion. At 5 stars, she gets a 1 energy cost decrease for her skills. She's the 2.0 big release unit for the new Spiral of Destiny timeskip, and I'm going to try and save enough memory fragments for an instant 3 stars before inevitably maxing her out. SP Safia has been a great support, especially for single target attackers, but the 3 stars I've left her at are not enough. It's just a 10% boost to attack and 15% boost to damage with mostly irrelevant level 1 buffs. 4 stars increases the basic buff level to 2, while 5 stars adds a second level 2 buff while also increasing the attack and damage dealt against units with mobile mark. She's the main reason why I even wanted to make this list and calendar, cause I have to bring her to 5 stars. SP Samantha is about to be another AoE magic damage dealing powerhouse, with a 15% crit rate buff at 3 stars and a decent stat boost at 4 stars. 5 stars gives her a 50% base crit rate though, and since Judgment Brand is applied before attacking, this is always up. Credenza has a skill enhancement system similar to Carrie's, but she consumes 20% HP on standby to activate it. At 2 stars, her Holy Miracle gets a +1 energy regenerated. At 3 stars, it adds 1 turn cooldown reduction, and at 4 stars, a 15% damage boost, while 5 stars adds a second energy generated. Sadly, this skill requires taking damage 12 times to charge up and can only be used once per battle, but it also affects all allies and it has some insane buffs. 3 stars as soon as possible, considering maxing out for more buff, energy and cooldown cut. Everyone's favorite speed buffer and battery, Tahir, gets more knowledge stacks and higher cap as the trait level goes up. At 3 stars, in order to use his damage buff twice, he still has to run around and collect knowledge pages, something that stops at 4 stars since he starts the battle with 4 stacks already. 5 stars adds 1 more stack at both battle start and at the start of each turn, so he doesn't even have to run around as much to keep up with the heals and buffs. Honestly considering this for long fight convenience alone, but we'll see if or when there's space. Felin looks like a great sustain with shields, heals and damage reduction. She gets more magic attack the more she casts, stacking up to 20% at 2 stars. Her trait gives her allies shields and damage reduction plus some level 2 buffs whenever she casts a skill on them. These shields get amped up to 11 starting at 3 stars, while further upgrades give her a small stat boost and the ability to shield herself alongside an ally. Instant 3 stars, higher levels optional. Agatha has been one of my favorites since her release. 3 stars give her more HP and Wolf Blood Awakening too, and she's been doing okay so far. The 3% boost to pierce damage at 4 stars seem really little, but part of me really wants to max her out for the climb and jump from Wolf Awakening 3. Maybe one day. Gloria has been a great support so far, but she's slowly been falling behind as more units buff unique attack up or give energy. Espinanna does almost everything she does, but better. 3 stars turn her into a Seeker after planting her flag, while 5 stars give her a 50% defense ignore, but after Auguste, Tristan and Estra, her damage isn't as impressive anymore. She will get a great rank 13 skill though, but we don't know when those will come to global. Team Meteor has some fun push skills and they keep stacking shields like mad. You will likely want them at least at 3 stars so they can get 4 fat stacks at battle start. Going higher increases the starting stacks, stacking regen, and finally 1 energy regen at 5 stars for their strangely expensive skills. More of a utility unit than a damage dealer though. Basing Anna's trait increases the range of her passive heal up to 4 tiles at 4 stars. The value isn't great, but it gives a bit more freedom for positioning without having to sacrifice the level 2 buffs. 5 stars adds 2 uses to the guard summon, while adding 15% attack and defense to them. Never felt the need to get it though. Simona has to be 3-star minimum so she can get the ice armor each turn. This talent level also gives her a second armor activation near death. 5 stars brings more stats and debuff immunity, but it feels unnecessary on someone whose job is to just spam ice walls. Lily Wheel's talent give her a 30% crit rate starting at 3 stars, and that's likely where she stops. Edda can deal some surprising damage with her follow-up attacks, hitting twice per round starting from 3 stars. I've seen a cool showcase of a 5-star one since she also gets a +1 range on top of a 10% damage boost, but it's too big of an investment. Still hoping her rank 13 skill somehow gives her +150 speed. Samantha has been my first healer and she still works okay for single target sustain. 2 stars gives all allies a 20% heal bonus boost, and that would be enough for her. 3 stars and up just removes the 3 out of turn heal limit, which is hard to hit in the first place. Faisal is more of a debuffer than a damage dealer. We get him at 2 stars for free and could go to 3 stars when you have no other option in the early game, just so he hits 100% debuff chance. Lastly, Miguel. The jumping skill is honestly good and he has a neat push. The rank 13 will let him apply a lot of burning too, but I wouldn't really get him past 2 stars. Phew, that was a lot, and there's a ton of characters that still demand my attention. Let's try and set up a calendar, but do keep in mind that between double drop campaigns and immortal recollections, this is more of a general idea for when the milestones will be hit, rather than anything set in stone. Currently under farm are Espinanna and Aisha, while Kvarep has just hit 5 stars and is leaving me a free slot. This could go to Luvata 5 stars, Extra 5 stars, SP Safia 4 stars, Normal Safia 5 stars, Agatha 4 stars, or Tahir 5 stars. Aisha will only leave her slot around the 28th of September, while SP Ranna will have to wait until October 20th to be fully maxed out. That's 52 and 74 days respectively. I could bring 2 units, from 4 stars to 5 stars, by the time SP Nanna is done, and the first one has got to be Luvata. I kind of wanted to max her out all in one go, but newer units took precedence. Taking into account the double drops for this week, she should reach it on September 9th, one day after SP Inanna is done with her 4 stars. Like this, Astra keeps chasing after Luvata in trait levels as well, and will march towards her own 5 stars in lockstep with Inanna. Aisha will likely leave her slot to SP Safia, who will be locked in until maxed, December 12th. But post, I hear you say, that locks all your 3 slots for over 2 months. What about the new releases? Well, I've got my eyes trained on Izarind, Metha and Nangol, which are all fairly far away, while even if I get Marsil, Felin or other surprises, they can get some recollections and wait for a slot or 2 to open. This will happen on October 20th, when both Inanna and Astra will be nice and maxed. If XD keeps to their calendar, SP Samantha and Credenza will have come out by then, with Percival releasing in 4 more days. Despite being broken as hell, I'm still gonna skip, which means I will have 2 free slots until November 7th, when Izarind finally comes out. 17 days are not enough to get someone new to 3 stars, but recollections can help this way. Alongside a new unit, there's Safia down there, for which I've gotten a dupe recently, and I'm getting real tempted to finally bring her to 5 star as well. The fun part is that if I do that, she should be done before SP Metha releases, so I will have another week to farm for Marsil, Felin, Kia, whoever, before the memory fragment stage is populated by SP Safia, Izarind and Iron Metha. Since SP Nangol should come out on January 2nd, that also leaves a free slot for 19 more days, and with it, the chance to farm for more lower priority characters. Unless I want to use Agatha as a filler unit and get her to 5 star as well. First problem I might encounter would be with Lukamar on January 16th, but I can always leave SP Nangol at 3 stars and delay her growth a little, just waiting on SP Metha to be done, but we are talking February and March 2026. Alright then, hopefully you found this list and my examples for a calendar useful enough. If you need extra help, feel free to get in on Discord, otherwise a like and a share would be very appreciated. Let me know down in the comments which characters will take roots in your memory farming stages, and as always, thanks a lot for watching and see you around soon. Ciao!
지 돈 누가